Ms. Rahayu.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, allow me to begin my speech in Malay. Saya punya ahli keluarga yang pernah terlibat dengan penagihan dadah. Saya dapat melihat secara pribadi bagaimana masalah dadah ini boleh memusnahkan seseorang dan menjejas keluarga si penagih. Saya faham dan sering dengar cerita tentang cabaran yang dihadapi penagih dan keluarga. Kita biasa bincangkan isu gejala dadah ini dalam bentuk statistik, polisi atau program, tetapi realiti kehidupan amat berbeza untuk seseorang penagih itu dan keluarganya. Bak kata pepatah, berat mata memandang, berat lagi bahunya memikul. Memang sukar sekiranya telah tersalah langkah dan terjebak dalam kancah dadah. Amat payah untuk menghentikan tabiat yang membinasakan itu dan kesan penagihan itu juga menjejas kehidupan keluarga dan masa depan anak-anak yang tidak berdosa. Apa yang biasa berlaku adalah apabila penagih itu keluar daripada pusat pemulihan, dia menghadapi kesukaran untuk kembali hidup seperti biasa. Kadangkala, penagih-penagih ini sukar mendapat pekerjaan yang sesuai atau menghadapi cabaran di tempat kerja kerana stigma masyarakat. Mereka kembali mencari teman-teman yang membawa mereka semula ke kancah dadah atau mula terlibat dengan jenayah lain untuk membiayai tabiat buruk mereka. Keadaan menjadi lebih rumit dan lebih sukar untuk membantu penagih itu kembali ke pangkal jalan. Adalah lebih baik sekiranya kita dapat mengekang penagihan itu dan membantu bekas penagih membina semula kehidupannya daripada awal lagi. Maka itu saya amat mengalu-alukan pindaan ini yang kekal tegas dalam usaha anti dadah. Namun pada masa yang sama diharapkan dapat menguatkan lagi usaha memulihkan penagih dadah. Saya akur segala perundangan yang sedia ada telah banyak membantu mengekang gejala dadah daripada berleluasa. Perundangan yang tegas penting untuk memupuk rasa takut untuk melakukan jenayah tersebut, apa yang disebut dalam bahasa Inggeris sebagai deterrent effect. Namun dengan hukuman yang berat dan berpanjangan, lebih sukar bagi seseorang penagih itu untuk kembali bekerja dan berintegrasi semula dengan masyarakat. Saya berharap dengan adanya pengalaman, data dan pengetahuan tentang pemulihan, kita boleh meningkatkan program pemulihan di pusat pemulihan dadah dan meneruskan sokongan jika perlu selepas penagih itu dibebaskan. Saya rasa pindaan ini yang membawa pendekatan yang khusus kepada penagih-penagih dengan objektif untuk memulihkan mereka amat memberangsangkan. Semoga pendekatan ini dan juga usaha bersama masyarakat untuk membantu bekas penagih dan keluarga dapat terus menguatkan usaha mengekang masalah dadah di Singapura. Saya menyokong pindaan ini. Mr. Deputy Speaker in English, Singapore has always had a tough anti-drug stance and it is a position I fully support. I believe this bill can further enhance the management of the misuse of drugs and addiction in Singapore. In particular, I note that in this bill there is a targeted and calibrated approach towards pure abusers who do not commit other concurrent offences. I appreciate the refreshing approach towards the issue of drug addiction. I've seen personally how challenging breaking the habit is for drug addicts and how severe addiction adversely impacts families. Drug addiction is the root cause of many social problems, and it is important that we give enough attention to rehabilitation efforts. I'm glad that the Ministry is working towards strengthening the rehabilitation regime, and I hope that this effort translates to further reductions in the recidivism rates among addicts. I appreciate that some may see this as a softening in the approach towards addicts. The fear is that addicts may not be deterred from abusing drugs because the penalty is not harsh enough and that these addicts can continue to be stuck in a loop and will remain social problems for the community. I can appreciate these concerns. However, I believe that the targeted approach in building on the rehabilitation efforts could be a better long-term solution. The effort in studying the rehabilitation process and building on our experience with drug rehabilitation centres can strengthen the rehabilitation regime and allow for more addicts to break the habit and have a new lease of life. In addition, I'm also not sure if we can say that imposing harsher penalties will yield better results. What we want to achieve is a drug-free society, a society that is resilient and improves over time. Whether we like it or not, these addicts are part of our community. The better option may be to work at the problem at its root and break the addiction to the best of our ability by providing the best recovery pathway and community support. I'm therefore supportive of the proposed changes in this bill that will allow for more focus on rehabilitation and reintegration of drug abusers into the community. The other aspect of the bill which I would like to comment on are the provisions relating to the criminalization of acts of contamination and acts exposing children and permitting young children to consume drugs. In the course of my volunteer work in the past, I've come across anecdotes of children of addicts and those who live in the vicinity of drug abusers. These unfortunate young people are more likely to be influenced and entrapped into the unsavory world of drug addiction. Recently, I attended a focus group discussion on youth, and a volunteer shared that one of the children he was supervising at an after-school care center told him that he was offered drugs by a group of men, presumably addicts, on his way back from school. Apparently, this is not an uncommon story in that particular area, and other participants in the group also shared about young people they know who had access to drugs. These young people may not have the maturity or savviness to respond appropriately to the influences. I'm therefore pleased that efforts are being made to curb the irresponsible conduct of exposing and giving drugs to young people, and those who commit these acts that could ruin the future of our young ones would receive the necessary punishment. I believe that the implementation of this bill will preserve our strong anti-drug position and allow for a more meaningful management of misuse of drugs in Singapore. I stand in support of this bill.